Hello dear students, again Vinay is here to welcome you in the class of UGC Net Paper 1 for Teaching Aptitude. In previous class, we were talking about the various levels of teaching. In this class, we will discuss on the basic requirements of teaching. Actually, this is a very easy class for us, going to be very easy for us because most of the elements of basic requirement of teaching we have already known it. Just I will try to put them into the sequence. So the very first element of basic requirement of teaching is learner, or you can say that student. Another one is teaching. Of course, if we are talking about the basic requirement of teaching, the teacher will be there and a student will also be the part of that. If a student and teacher will be there, then the next element is subject or the topic to teach. The teacher will deliver the subject and the learner will receive it. Then further, we will go for another element, that is environment. So for the better teaching learning, the teacher and learner will deal with a subject in a productive environment, or you can say in amicable environment that will be really fruitful to both teacher as well as for the learner. Another one is infrastructure. In current era, the infrastructure always shown as showcase to the student to attract to get an admission in high school. So infrastructure will provide you the outline, and we are not talking about the external infrastructure, but we are also talking about the internal infrastructure of the school. For example, modern labs and the robotic labs is there, computer labs is there, and the infrastructure or the interior designing of that particular labs are such that the student feel very comfortable to deal with that. Teacher and student relationship is also important. If the students are not willing to learn from the teacher, or the teacher is not willing to teach the students, and he is not willing to transfer the real information to the students, it will not works but full or the welfare of student and teacher as well. Then another element is student discipline. Of course, if all these elements are there is a very important discipline for the students as well as for the teachers. If the students are not in discipline, definitely they will make a hindrance in the learning. They will create a hindrance to learn with other students, and it will also create the problem for the teacher to deliver his material to the other students who are willing to receive it. So in order to explain all these elements, basic requirements of teaching, they are as follows. The very first is teacher. As we have already discussed too much about the teacher and teaching, the teacher is a more knowledgeable person, or the person that having the more information or the bunch of information to whom we want to transfer into the coming generation is called teacher. The teacher is participation in the discussion making, helps to deal with the problem that affect student learning. In the classroom, the teacher set the environment negatively or positively in which it is responsible for the social behavior in the classroom. Here the word negatively or positively. So don't take it in other way. This is this both these words negatively or positively are useful for the well-being of the students. While the I think you have already heard about a law of enforcement. If the student is doing some mistake, please make them punish, not in the form of physical punishment, but you can give them many ways of punishment. And for better work, you can make them some rewards in form of positive response. Okay, that will really change the social and the environmental behavior of the students regarding to the teachers and other society as well. Now we will come to discuss the another element, that is learner or student. As the teacher's role now facilitator, or should be the student role, is take to give information, instruction, and coordinate that the task for himself or group member are begin to task. The teacher formulate a classroom management plan to facilitate the development of effective learning environment, while the students is also have an obligation in development of quality learning environment. So it is also depends on the various laws, that if the learner will do a such behavior will be much effective in process of learning, right? Then we will come at subject or the topic to teach. If the teacher is there, student is there, and no material to share with teacher to student, so there is a problem. So here the subject is very important. If the subject is not decided by the teacher or the students, if there is a no way to conversation with each other. So if we have subject or the topic, or we have clear cut objectives, so both it will be much better for both teacher as well as student. If they both know the aim of study, definitely they will do much better in their areas. The subject is the part of teaching learning process. The subject should interested like the student, so that the student can also contribute in the process of learning. Teacher is to prepare necessary charts, map, tables, model that pertain to decide the topic. Means the subject will be come from this is a topic, is a small scale the things, or one day lesson plan like this. If broader scale if we will talk about, it will just generated from the national curriculum framework of a country. Then further it will come to the shortest for much easier way, that is syllabus or the syllabi. Then we will go for various books and lesson plan or one day lesson plan of the teacher. E-learning methodology and certificates is also made available by a teacher to make the teaching more interesting. So subject matter will decide that what kind of the teaching aid, what kind of the teaching technology, and what kind of teaching pedagogy is teacher is going to be used. It depends totally on the subject or the topic to be teach. For example, if a teacher is dealing with the students of a subject that is theoretical, so you have to take the class into the inside a classroom that is having some various facilities like projector, board, and many more other kind of things like chart, map, tables, models, uh, things like this. If he's taking the class of practical subjects, then both teacher and students need to move to the laboratory. If he is taking the class of some sports activity, both teachers and students need to move towards to the sports ground, and the teacher will show the demonstration in front of students, so the student will be able to understand much better. The next thing is environment. The student growth and development are the main objectives of the teaching, which is possible better suitable environment for the teaching and learning process. The creating positive environment in the classroom will allow the student to feel comfortable, safe, and engage something that all the students deserves. In a classroom where the values, role, remaining constant and the focus is placed into the positive aspects of learning. So here I would like to give an example to you. For example, if a student who is If a student who is learning or he is taking the admission in a school in rural area, definitely he will think the his growth and his competition with the students they are coming from the rural area only. If another student he is taking the admission in very reputed schools like DPS or other kind of the schools like this, then he is getting different kind of competition. If another student he is taking the admission in a university affiliated college like Minto Circle School that is affiliated with the Aligarh Muslim University, so the thinking will be changed because the environment is totally different. Because the student who are getting class in an university affiliated schools, they having more chance to interact with the various people. They come from the various states of the country and the foreign country as well, while the other student they are taking study into a rural area, they will get only the student from the rural areas. So how the environment work, I think you will be able to understand very clearly with this example. Now another thing is infrastructure. The infrastructure is also support to making the environment. I have already told you about the infrastructure, that is all about the laboratories. The infrastructure is also necessary for the safety purpose of the student. School classroom are most common place in which the structured learning takes place with a group of children, while learning is also takes place into the variety type of space tents, temporary setters, plastic sheets, and the shades of trees in place of worship, people, home, or family communities. Expected formal education takes place into the classroom that have been designed for the safety and comfort. As you guys have already know about the education, there's a formal education, informal education. Okay, so formal education has a design, pre-designed, structured education, and informal education you are getting it just by chance at anywhere, inside to the classroom, outside to the classroom, or from a particular society as well. Okay, so that this is the way how the infrastructure help and make the secured security of student, right? Another thing, another last and for most important, teacher student relationship. If the each and everything like student is there, teacher is there, content to be teach is there, infrastructure is very good, environment is there, but the relationship or the tuning of teacher and student is not good, then the learning cannot takes place much healthier between the teacher and taught. So a strong teacher student relation shapes the way the children think and act in the school. When a teacher has a good relation with the student, they likely feel positive about the class and about the school in general. They also more willing to have to go a hard work and risk making mistakes and ask to help when they need it. Because if the teacher and student tuning is good, the student always feel free to ask if he is facing is any kind of the problem or the difficulties due course of study. In order to completion of this chapter, the student discipline in the last student discipline is also important. Here you need to give attention over here to understand that there is two different aspects, that the discipline of school or discipline of students. So school discipline related to the action taken by the teacher or school organization towards the schools when the students behavior disrupt or ongoing educational activity or break rules created by school. Okay, there is another perspective that good discipline in context of student. The good discipline is the fundamental to achieve the governmental priorities of the public school system. The discipline code as the school rule, strategies, and practices to promote the positive student behavior, including to the specific strategies to maintaining the climate of respect. Student discipline support good teaching environment in the classroom. It support the learning, well-being, and safety for all the students for the coordination between the teacher and student. Very nice. So I think this is enough to tell you about all the elements that about our topic. I need to share some more thing in this class with you because it's really important. So that is why I was thinking it is important to share with you. Right, some important concepts related to teaching. They are education, learning, instruction. Another thing is training, indoctrination, syllabus, and curriculum. In coming class, we will talk on all these concepts because these concepts are really important and important for the exam purpose also. So in this class, we will finish this class is here. So for today, namaste.